Welcome, everyone, to Manifesting with Meg Conversations with Extraordinary People. This is once again season 7. This is the year of Live, Laugh, Love, and Play. And today we have special guest, Debra Thomas. She is the author of both Luz and Josie and Vic. This is continuing our month of love. This is episode 127. We have a little bit of a change with regard to the theme, which is kind of exciting. It is use your life as part of the great love experiment. So as we wind up February, coming into this wonderful week, I am bringing you all to the place of extraordinary with Debra. And this is a show, as we recall, about transformation, dreams, inspiration, true happiness, discovering bliss, and how will we all serve. We are always just a conversation away from extraordinary. So it's time to wake up to a universe packed with possibility. Debra, welcome to the show. I'm so happy to engage with you. I loved your books. You definitely have a wonderful way of writing, and I'm excited to introduce you and your books to my audience. And without further ado, how are we doing today?
Oh, I'm so happy to be here. I couldn't wait to meet you. I feel like we have so many things in common, and to see you face to face, yeah, I'm just thrilled.
The beautiful world of social media connections through Zoom and the like. As you all know, this is a podcast as well as a YouTube. I do want to give everyone an introduction as to who you are, so they have more of a understanding of the what you do. So you are the author of Luz. It's the winner of the 2020 Sarton Award for Contemporary Fiction. And of course, Josie and Vic, you published on April of 2023. So you're coming up on a year here soon. Originally, you're from Binghamton, New York. You've lived in Southern California most of your life. After working a decade as a registered nurse, you returned to college to pursue your passion for literature and writing, receiving both a bachelor's and master's in English. You taught English on the college and high school level, but it was teaching English as a second language to adults in Los Angeles that led you to become an immigrants' rights activist, an experience that influences much of her writing. You're a lover of all creatures, which I love that, great and small. When you're not with your 2 horses, which I find very interesting that you have 2 horses, you're relaxing with your husband and little dog, delighting in all the birds, critters that visit you in your backyard feeders. Welcome. So great to have you on the show. Wow. So you've done a lot. I've been, it's interesting. I've been contemplating this kind of second half of life. I just went to see Stevie Nicks in concert. She's 75 and still rocking like she was in her 20s, if we all can have that much energy. And I'm just fascinated by people who don't just kind of rest on their laurels, but kind of pivot and do something even more amazing in that second chapter or second part, whatever you want to call it. So, I am so happy to see you and have you on the show. Tell me a little bit about your journey.
Well, I think of life as almost like a book. We have a lot of
Oh, yeah.
chapters. I mean, it could be career changes. It could be, that we go from being a student to in a career to being a mother, and then the empty nest, finding things to fill that. So I have always told my kids and my students and everyone, it's never too late to do what's really you're passionate about at the time, and that can change. You don't have to stay with one thing; it can change, and so it has for me. Well, as you pointed out, I was a nurse first, but I always loved literature. I was a voracious reader, and I wanted to be a novelist. It was kind of my dream, but and I took fiction writing classes. But it wasn't until my kids were in school that I decided to go back to school, as you pointed out, and study literature and writing. And then I ended up being a teacher because that's what you do, and which is perfect when you have kids. Our schedules were the same. But my experiences, and I don't know how much you want me to go into it right now, teaching English as a second language, to getting involved in immigrant rights, that really changed the direction of my life for a couple decades. Now I'm on to a new passion, which has to do with wild mustangs being rounded up, and I volunteer at a sanctuary. So, it's never too late to follow whatever you're fascinated with, or what's calling to you.
Yeah, it's never too late. I love that component because I think a lot of people hit wall And they're like, I don't have the energy to do it again, but you have to kind of recalibrate, rework, rebalance out those things that are certainly important to you. And I love that you're dealing with wild mustangs now. I mean, my God, that is another world in and of itself, I'm sure. So, the theme or the concept that we're looking at today, use your life as a part of the great love experience, means so much to me because legacy and making my life matter really is something that's foremost in mind. And of course, the quote today is from Walt Disney, who was a visionary, who I absolutely love living in Florida. And that's some place we go when we want to feel like we're kids again. It's whatever we accomplish belongs to our entire group, a tribute to our combined effort. And, you know, for me, it's amazing because I really do believe in the collaboration, and generosity begets generosity. And I do believe that when we work together, things can go farther, right? We can make our dreams come to light and also collaborate and impact other dreams as well. And I think that that's probably why I love these interviews the most, because we're kind of doing a dance of dreams here. I used to be an immigration attorney asking these kind of questions, and now I get to do it to bring your story to light in a very definitely less prosecutorial setting. So that is definitely a
Well,
beautiful thing when you think about it, taking something that you feel that you're skilled at and be able to pivot and turn it into something really beautiful in bringing your story to life. So, I love the key today is let your imagination run wild as to the magical reality that could be all of ours, which kind of goes along the wild Mustang, you know. And my husband often says to me that, I can't trap you into a certain place. You're a wild Mustang. You need to go free. So I'm going with that. I apologize for a little cliche, but we're gonna. So back to you. What are your thoughts on all of this? The whole idea that your life is all about in service to love, really.
well, that whole passage on this page for today is about uniting and combining our efforts and coming together and connection. And that speaks to the heart of everything I write, and my philosophy in life,
Yeah.
because we are all connected. I mean, look at family. We can start with family, something we can all relate to. We have our differences, we have our complexities, but we're connected. Communities, we have our differences, but we need to work together. Our country, the world, our planet, animals, everything, nature, we're all interconnected. And so for me, what I strive for is to reach across any differences because they're always there, and
Yeah.
to try to find connection and to listen and learn and see how we can move forward to heal, to change whatever the issues around us are.
And I do think as women, it also fits kind of the way we do shine brighter. I think that I honestly I look at people who are standing receiving, and since it's awards ceremonies season too, but they're realizing that they're not there without the help of so many others that have pushed
Absolutely.
them forward or believed their life into existence or believed their talent into existence, things like that. So I do believe, it's how we are inspired so many times by all of the beautiful people that show up. And the fact of the matter is that you were inspired to go and get your master's in literature, and now you were inspired to write some beautiful books, certainly bringing a voice to people who did not have a voice. I do want to highlight your two best-selling books, Luz and Josie and Vic, right now. Like I said, they're both award winning, and I want to give summaries for each of them, specifically Luz, as I have it with me today. This is her beautiful cover too. It is a story about Alma, who is the mother of a willful teenage daughter, which we all, God bless us if we have one, right? I'm sure that you do, because literally you always write what you know, or even some kind of experience with that. But let me go further into the synopsis. Luz is the teenage daughter who could not know the truth about her past. But her story holds secrets Luz can never know about the journey Alma took to the U.S. to find her missing father. Alma's father knows her better than anyone else, encouraging her love of math and her dreams of becoming a teacher. So when he disappears in 1997 after leaving Oaxaca to work on farms in California, a part of her is lost as well. After 3 years of poverty, Alma and her sister Rosa set out on a perilous trek north to find their father. Along the way, they meet a young man from Guatemala, Manuel, who joins them on their journey and with whom Alma falls in love. Together, they continue north, encountering both kindness and profound cruelty. What happens once Alma reaches the U.S. is a journey from from despair to hope, timeless in its depiction of the depths of family devotion and the blaze of first love. Luz conveys with passion and insight the plight of those desperate to cross the U.S. border. Wow. So, in specifically that we have a timely topic here, certainly with the highlight on the border right now.
Right.
Then, it's, it, what's personal is general is what positive psychologists say. And, when we highlight a story like this, something that's so profound, then we can have more empathy or compassion
Exactly.
for those. So tell me a little bit about your why you wrote this.
Well, as I mentioned, back in the late 90s, around 2000, I was teaching ESL to adults, and so I knew their stories. I knew why they were coming across, and at the same time, there was the anti-immigrant sentiment, and I was reading about the deaths in the desert. It's always been a topic of controversy, especially when we're close to election time for anything.
Yeah.
And way back in then, I believe Clinton was president. They were making the walls more, building the fences, and it was pushing the migrants further east into the desert, and that's why they were dying of dehydration. And I wanted to convey, I wanted people to learn what I learned and what I experienced. I became an advocate with Amnesty International and had incredible experiences that I could spend an hour talking about. I met a wonderful volunteer group called Water Stations Project, and these are people who on the weekend would hike out into the desert and leave water marked by blue flags in the hopes of, preventing the deaths. And the topic is complex, but what I wanted to do was, through fiction, have readers be pulled into my character Alma's life and see what and why and how, and as you pointed out, perhaps they could empathize and understand in a better way. And I did get responses from, I'm originally from upstate New York, people in upstate New York who did not know anything about what really is going on down at the border. People in rural areas who told me, I didn't know a lot of this. And so, it may not completely change their opinion, whatever it might be, but it might broaden their perspective. And I'd like to think deepen their humanity.
Well, isn't that what we would hope for the world, is deepen humanity, that we have that kind of respect for human life? And I know that's such a loaded topic, and especially in so many different areas, but I think each person comes to the table with a different perspective, certainly by reading, obviously we the downloads we put into our brain, having a little bit more empathy for those that are alive, trying to survive, and certainly different storytelling arcs as well, makes it even more a story come to life. So tell me a little bit about the cover, the calla lily.
Well, when they're doing the cover, they say, "What would you like on the cover?" And that's exactly what I wanted, because in the story, Alma is carrying a little wooden box that's blue with a white calla lily on it. And her father had given it to her. He was a migrant farm worker who would go back and forth across the border. And they've always been welcomed because farm workers are desperately needed. In fact, right now there's a problem because of immigration, being inhibited a bit. A lot of the farm workers and farmers are having trouble. But that's another story.
Yeah.
So he brought her this little wooden box with the white calla lily, and she keeps in it like her report cards and things to show her father, and the little stars that he puts on her homework.
Yeah.
So when he goes missing, she carries it with her. And on her travels, she runs across a woman who makes different, she's an artisan, makes all kinds of things to sell. And one of the things is a blank notebook. And she is stunned because the cover is blue with a white calla lily.
Oh, wow.
And she ends up using this as not a journal to write in, but she creates math problems on her journey, because that's how she, can help escape her life and explain it. And so the math problems have something to do with an aspect of her journey along the way. And I was wondering how readers would receive that, but fortunately I've gotten some great feedback on that aspect of the book. So, and the light in the middle is my belief that it's better to light a candle than to curse the darkness.
I love it.
Luz means light in Spanish. And so that's why I said, let's put a little flame in the middle of the calla lily. And I think it's the most beautiful cover. I'm just think it's
Well, let me
gorgeous.
ask you, what is it that you wanted your audience to take away? Like, I know that authors usually go into it like the story is kind of like comes through them. But at the end, especially with fiction, at the end of the day, what is it that you want them to take away?
I wanted them to become Alma and to see through her eyes
Mhm.
and to understand why some people come across the border, risk their lives several times, um, for all kinds of desperate reasons. In her case, she's trying to find her father. Others are fleeing terrible danger. I met so many young men who came across because their moms were back home with several children, and they were the only income. And the money they would make in their home village was zero, and what they could make and send home to buy shoes. I mean, the stories are very moving and very beautiful. So I wanted to create empathy so that my readers would see with different eyes whenever they hear about this. And yes, it's a complex topic. It's overwhelming. I wish I had some miraculous answer. But to
Mhm.
me, to look at it through the eyes and hear a personal story can at least create some empathy and an understanding.
So that's Luz. Josie and Vic's a very different story. It's a
Mhm,
very different story.
mhm.
Um, the summary of which is very interesting because, but I think that you can hear your voice very clearly. It's still you. It's just a different approach to
Third
life
person.
and
Yeah,
family, right?
yeah.
So the summary here is when Josie, Serafini's brother, Vic, loses his family in a tragic accident, Josie leaves her home and beloved horses in upstate New York to join him in Los Angeles. While helping Vic pick up the pieces of his shattered life, Josie confronts broken relationships with her estranged father who abandoned her family long ago, and rebellious songwriter daughter who abruptly left home the previous summer. Josie and Vic each struggle to find where they belong in these changing worlds. Josie finds comfort in nature and in a budding long distance relationship with the empathetic equine veterinarian caring for her horses back home. Vic battles depression as he seeks purpose in life. Josie's three horses and Siberian Husky helps open hearts to tenderness and healing, but it's an unexpected journey to the US Mexico border that offers this fragmented family a chance to reconnect. A story of love, loss, forgiveness conveys hope even in the darkest times. So, a different, totally different bent on this book. And but I hear obviously themes from your life showing up, and the Italian, obviously, the name.
Yes, yes.
Serafini didn't go lost on me.
Fulvio.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit more about this, and maybe you start off with the cover on this because I see the cover for those in the podcast world.
Yeah.
She has the painting hanging up behind her that is reflected on the cover. It looks like a sunset, but it could be a sunrise.
Sunrise, it's a sunrise. It's
Yeah.
a quilted wall hanging made by a dear friend,
Wow.
and when I couldn't figure out a good idea for the cover for this book, she had posted a few, that she had made, and I went, "Oh, I love that," and I bought it, and I kept thinking about the sun rising out of the darkness there, and
Wow.
that's what Josie is to Vic.
Yeah.
And this novel actually came after 9/11 and my immigrant experiences. The idea that, sometimes terrible things happen, and how do we move forward? Well, we move forward with love and support.
Yeah.
And this particular sister and brother had a very close relationship because the father abandoned them. And Vic was like a second parent to her. He's the older brother. And he, goes through this unimaginable experience. And we've heard about many unimaginable experiences in our time. And so she drops everything and goes to be with him and to help him find his way. And this father comes back into the picture, and the rebellious daughter does. And now Vic was an immigrant paralegal, for immigration. And he was married to a woman from Mexico, although she had become an American citizen on her own before she met him. So he has a lot of ties to the community there. And the story does end up going into another topic of immigration and of going to the border and the deaths in the desert. But the horses and the dog, I have to bring those in because what I wanted this to be about was a fragmented family finding a way to reconnect despite their differences. And how do we connect? And animals connect us in so many, I mean, we connect to animals. Animals heal us 100%,
Oh,
but they
wow.
can also bring us together. And so Maggie, the Siberian Husky, is a character in the book, more or less. And the rebellious Ellie and the stubborn Josie, her mom, this dog helps bring them together in a very subtle way. And of course, the horses that her vet is taking care of back home, through emails and phone calls, a relationship possibly develops. And again, it's the horses that have to do with bringing that connection.
I love that you bring the animals in because I'm a huge animal. I'm a huge animal lover,
Me
and
too.
as you know, we had a very big scare in my condo building last week, and
Right.
my dog was home without us, and I think I almost lost my, you know what, because I will say I called them animal guides, and literally, like you say, with regard to how dogs keep us really on point. I think so. I always say that they're my spiritual balance is with my
Yes.
animals for sure. But I loved how you incorporate that in your story as well, because it really is true to life fiction. You know,
Mhm.
fiction is only, you know, based upon the best fiction is based upon the writer's knowledge of
Right.
the topic. And you did a beautiful job with regard to this. So what the takeaway that you want people to take away from Josie and Vic as well?
Well, I guess the one thing is, to be there. Sometimes when a friend is going through something really, devastating or mild depression, whatever it is, we think, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. Just be there. It's the support. We all need that support. Or think of a larger thing like 9/11 and how
Yeah,
everyone came together all over the world and the love and support. Even during COVID, how people came together, supported the medical staff.
yeah.
I wanted that to come across on a large level, but also on a small level. I wanted the concept of a fragmented family can come together again and reconnect despite the differences that continue,
Yeah.
and also the resilience of the human spirit, that you can feel like, how can I go on after this? But you can find a purpose and passion and keep going, as Vic does, and I in the book.
And you were right at the outset of the interview. This is so on point with the theme for today. The whole idea that we are our accomplishments as the entire group. We are so interconnected, what you were speaking to. And even in this situation as well, these people are interconnected. They have to take care of each other because otherwise, who are we? Like, even
Mhm.
in our most intimate groups, you know, that have a ripple effect on the world as a whole. So one of the things I absolutely love, and I say this all the time because this is like my favorite part of the show, is that you share your inspirations with us. Because for me, there's certain things that inspire me on the daily. I turn to them when I'm lost in the darkness, like you were saying. In the whole sunrise, I've always looked for those things that bring me to that point where I see the light. And this we'll start with because this is the quote you've already spoken to. It is better to light a candle than curse the darkness. Go
Yes.
for it. Tell us.
This little plaque has been with me so many places, as well as a wall hanging that says "One people, one planet."
Oh, wow.
But back to the light, I mean, there's so much to be upset about, to be angry about, to be provoked about, and cursing about it, complaining, being ugly about it doesn't help, doesn't heal, doesn't change. And so even a small light can make a difference. The ripple effect, as you say it, the smallest thing can hopefully move things forward to a point of healing or change or good, whatever that might be.
I like that you're pointing this out because especially when we're really in darkness, when you don't want to, you're like, there's no light. There's never going to be
Right.
light again. There's no hope. I don't know. I like, it's like my husband always says, don't make long play. Don't have decisions that affect the long term for short term problems. Like there's always an opportunity as long as you're alive. So my wonderful the receptionist at our office, not my office, in my building, told me this morning, as long as you're ticking, you're kicking. So as long as you're alive, there's still an opportunity to really jump into, a thrive. So there's got to be a light somewhere. If you can't be the light, then look for those who are lights. And
Yes.
Luz is the light. So even reading a book can change your.
Exactly. And to keep in mind that while we can't change things that happen to us, we can, we have power over how we respond to them.
Oh
And
yeah.
it can, I like to think it will build character or give us confidence in the future. Or the next time we face a tough time, we'll remember that we went through it and got through it.
One
So,
of the questions I've been asking myself is like, why is this happening to me? Is how is it happening for me? Trying to shift from the to me. So how's
mhm,
this happening for me? And I think that when you become aware, can step back, like you're saying, even inspired by books. I
yeah.
mean, what better movies, books that become movies, stories, it changes everything. And then we go to this beautiful one, take the gentle path. Okay. Okay. Just, I want to
My little
describe
needle
it.
point.
So I'm not sure what kind of tree that is, but it looks like a little bird. I'm not sure even what kind of bird that is. Why don't you describe that for the
Yeah,
listeners
I
world?
just loved that it's simplicity of it and that take the gentle path. That's my intention set for the new year of 2024. I know that it's going to be a tough year politically, and there's going to be a lot of ugliness and darkness and disagreement and division. And I'm Italian, half Italian and part French, but very get provoked easily, right?
I hear
And
you.
so I wanna try, I don't know how successful I'll be, and so that's it's take the gentle path. I wanna try to step back and find that stillness, that
Yeah.
gentleness, because it's when we do that, that we soften and that our hearts open, and we're better able to respond in a way that is more helpful than harmful. I
Yeah.
mean, anger is not gonna Martin Luther King, "Darkness cannot drive out darkness, only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate, only love can do that." And yeah, it's hard to respond with love to everything, but, to soften and just remind yourself, "Okay, what's the best way?" And I remember the Dalai Lama has spoken a lot about the fact that being, compassionate and gentle, um, isn't being passive. You can still be very passionate, but be calm about it. And I think that you can actually accomplish more with that attitude.
Yeah, I love this. Take the gentle path is, I believe, my message today because I feel like the path that I've been taking has been like, kind of like walking into one of those, the car things that go up when you're going through. So I'm walking, I get hit in the head, and I see it coming, and I keep going, and it's like turn around, and I'm not turning around, and I just keep getting hit in the head. So I think this is a great reminder not to turn around, not walk right into the wall every 5 seconds might be a good moment in time, perhaps. And I love these wonderful inspirations. They do that for me. So thank you. It's very simple. And of course, our last one today, humankind has not woven the web of life. We are but one thread within it. Whatever we do to the web, we do to ourselves. All things are bound together. All things connect. Chief Seattle. And it shows Pangaea.
Pangea, correct.
Yeah.
Originally, I wanted to call Josie and Vic The Promise of Pangea. And I
Ah,
have the map on the first page of the book because I wanted to put the metaphor that is threaded throughout the novel that we are all connected. And that, yes, like Pangea, which is, the theory that our continents were all once joined and we were a supercontinent. Over time, they've pulled apart and we've got our separate continents. But as Josie will realize as she's going through her experiences, we're a globe, we're a sphere, and those same continents that pulled apart are moving back towards each other, maybe to reconnect one day in a new form, which is hopefully what will happen with her family in the book. My publisher was concerned that Pangea was a word people didn't know, couldn't pronounce, might not pick up the book, think it was some scientific thing.
ah,
And so we tried to come up with something else, and then it really came back to Josie and Vic, and it really is about not just this brother and sister, but it's about the fact that it comes down to two people and how we can connect, two people at a time. The smallest gesture with someone that we're with right now.
yeah, I love that. That's really beautiful. And I love the fact that we've been talking about interconnectedness. And I think that when we think in those terms, I don't know how much the world is kind of raw right now. I can only imagine because I feel raw. So, at least in my world, it feels like that. I think when you come from that, you know, personal, point of view, I think there's two ways you can approach it. You're being ripped apart or you're coming together.
Mhm.
And I love how, Josie and Vic, they were coming together in a time where they were ripped apart.
Mhm.
And just if we remind each other, it's always like be gentle, which is one of your other quotes to
Right.
each other. You don't know what they're going through. So
Right.
if you can be that light that brings someone back to a place of feeling connected, then they might feel that their life may matter and
Right.
that light will go on and
Exactly. Yeah.
darkness will fade.
Beautifully
And
said. Yeah.
no, this is all you coming out here. So I found it so amazing. I always believe in this, like you said before, the serendipities of life, how they show up when we need to hear it,
Mhm.
and power through. Okay, sometimes maybe not, but some other times there's a message waiting, and I think that if you're willing to hear it, then everything changes. So, this is my season of live, love, laugh, and play. I'm trying to bring in the elements of joy into the party. Certainly, when it's too heavy, I think that we forget that there's still beauty all around us. And I do believe when I engage the extraordinary person you into these kind of conversations, I think that when we listen, we might hear some really apropos tools that we can use to help us manifest more magic and joy and victory in our life. I think Josie sounds like joy to me. Sounds like victory. So,
Wonderful. I love that.
yeah, I was like, that's so interesting. So, time to manifest with you. I want to start out asking you, like, how do you make a difference in your life, perhaps when you're going through a dark time?
Um, Gosh, that's a good question. How do I make a difference? I often go to different books about, um, you know, finding inspiration. I have several journals with quotes. I reflect. In fact, at one point in 2013, I went through a very difficult time, and I was searching for something. And Oprah's 21-day meditations, I
Oh,
think it was
yes.
called,
I remember
and
that.
this one was about purpose and passion.
Mm.
And I thought, well, what the heck? And so I did it every day. I'd listen to it, and I'm not a meditator. I don't but I would read and I would listen to the music that would play,
Mhm.
and I couldn't do the full 20 minutes, but I could do 10, and I would just relax and think, and then afterwards journal. And it really did lead me to a place to say, what is my purpose and passion?
I love
And
it.
I knew that it was my horses and writing. And you talk about live, love, laugh. I mean, it's being around animals, my dog too, and my horses. I don't ride anymore. I'm 70 years old. They're both retired. I'm retired. I just love being with them every
Mhm.
single morning, first thing. That
Love that.
that brings me the love and the play.
I've heard it say that nature takes you back to a healing element that you seem to forget when the chaos of the world takes over. So I love the fact that you're being drawn to those things that heal you most. I think that's fantastic. I think that the way you live your life, perhaps the perspective as to how you live your life, impacts how you show up in the world. Perhaps that glow, you're glowing, and also that joy de vivre, right? That joy of life and what you take away. And I know we all don't experience that on the daily. I mean, literally, if you ask me today, I'd be like, let's start all over in life. Nope.
Right.
You but I am always reminded that from others like yourself that there's something to always look forward to, look for. Um, what are the best tools and practices other than meditation? I love that you bring that up. I'm a rebellious meditator. What other
I
tools and practices
I
help you?
guess, well, reading voraciously, being open to learn new things, meeting new people, having new experiences. And then something that you do as well as I experience you have is a writing group. Like you, I connected with three She Writes Press writers back in 2020, Ashley, Shelley, and Gretchen, and we formed the RBGs, which means Ruth Bader Ginsburg, but it also means Radical Badass Gals Who Write.
Yeah. Hey now.
And we meet once a month. We send each other. We support, encourage, give advice. And it's a wonderful thing to know. I want to get this chapter done because I want them to see it. And
Ah,
so it keeps me going, and we become such good friends, even though we haven't all met in person yet. A couple of us have met, but we know each other's, personal lives. We've become very close friends. I love them to pieces. And I know you have that. You
yeah,
have a group. And that is certainly a tool that helps me emotionally with personal stuff, and it helps me with my writing life.
I love it.
So you've
Well,
got to have close friends somewhere where you get and give. Sometimes you're the one that gives the support, and sometimes you need it, and be open to it.
that's beautiful. And I have to say, it's very interesting the who's that show up in your world. And a lot of the fact of the matter is that we have the ability to connect via, technology now that, you wouldn't have had that opportunity before had it been in 1980, let's say.
Yeah.
So these are the blessings of technology. I want to also point out that, I've been reading about the blue zones lately, and they say that community of like-minded people or clusters of like is really one of the most important things for longevity. And the most of the centenarians throughout the world in the 5 different blue zones, they find great resource and love and welcoming and acceptance from those communities that where they can talk and they can share and they can just engage in their talents and like and the like. So I agree with you. Find a tribe and vibe. I love your name. Say it again. What's the name of your group? The RBGs?
RBGs.
And it stands for,
Radical badass gals who write and admire Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
wow, there you go. So
Was a
even
radical
better.
badass gal herself.
Oh, I love it. That's awesome. And okay, so this is where we get synchronistic in the show. And I love one of the things about intentions. What is your intention? Why did you show up today? Why are we here? Why did we connect? What is that brought us here? And also, what is your wish for what you want as the year continues to unfold?
Well, what I really want to speak to is the fact that I followed you on social media for a while, and I thought, oh, wow, I feel like we have a lot in common. And my intention today was hoping that you and I would connect on a deep, more soul level. I mean, we have a lot in common, a philosophy, our Italian heritage. And so for me, I picked, did you want me to say the
Yes,
page here? Page,
absolutely.
page 256.
So go ahead and read what that insight is.
Okay. This is the alchemy of connection, and that's so important. Two
Yeah.
people. A single rose can be my garden, a single friend, my world.
Mm.
Be a true believer in the alchemy of connection. When you connect with another through touch, a smile, a kind word, or the smallest act of caring, a seemingly magical power emerges from the profound energy that is shared. That beautiful energy, when released, has the power to change form, nature, or substance, bettering others one life at a time. This alchemy does happen on a daily basis before your eyes. You are a witness to one person reaching out to assist another in need, to the beauty, this is the part I like best, to the beauty of two souls sharing a moment in time filled with gentleness. And I'll
Mhm.
just stop there
That's
because
awesome.
that's, I knew that there would be something about our
Yeah,
shared passions, our energies, our philosophies, and I hope that whoever's listening will also be, moved by that, touched by that. Think
yeah.
of a friend or someone they feel that with, and try to find it with someone else too. So
I think that's beautiful. And then one of the things I want to point out with the word alchemy is very magical components. How, you know, earth elements, air, all of the above turn into something more than what you can see. And when two people enter a room with the intention to bring each other to a higher place, there's alchemy there. And that's what you say with regard to that soul connection, that beautiful place where we both offer the space to share whatever is in our heart with others and in our writing with others, which is something that you definitely do in both your books. You share stories with others so that they may see differently in a world that doesn't want them to see
mhm,
differently.
mhm.
So that's beautiful. Okay, back to, inspiration, and what we all are here to do, I think. to lift people up, to basically breathe life into another, even for yourself, for that matter, if that's what you come to the plate with needing. So what today would be your final inspiration for those who are listening?
I guess it would be to believe in your potential
Mm,
to make a difference. Uh, I think it was Mother Teresa who said, "We can't all do great things,
I love
but we can do small things with great love."
that.
And that's what I would say, even if it's a small gesture wherever you're going today, smile at someone, talk to the clerk at the checkout stand. If you've been kind of toying with volunteering with animals or at the food bank, do that, get involved in something. And that ripple effect really, really, really happens. It's real. That
It's,
pebble that you throw in and you see that, the pond move.
yeah.
That's what I would say.
Wow, I love it. That is perfect. A perfect insight for today, inspiration for today. I want to put your beautiful books up here again and encourage all of you to go check out Luz. If you need a little bit more light in your life, go read a story like this, because it definitely has you shift your perspective to see how people in the most dire circumstances even show up in this world. And then we have the beautiful Josie and Vic and the sunrise coming out of the darkness, and family relations and healing that comes from that. And I'll put them both up together here, and tell us where we can find these beautiful books.
Well, my website, everything is Debra, Debra, DebraThomasAuthor.com. There's a famous skater named Deborah Thomas, so I had to tack on the author. Sounds a little, I always cringe when I see it, but even on Facebook, Deborah Thomas Author, Instagram, Deborah Thomas Author, and my website, DebraThomasAuthor.com, is where you can find several options. That, the books can be ordered anywhere books are sold, but I
Yeah.
have links on my website.
So we'll celebrate with you your anniversary in April 2024, your 1 year for Josie and Vic. It's very exciting.
Mhm.
And obviously, Luz has already made her mark in the world. She definitely
I'm
is
so
shining very bright. So
proud of it.
congratulations on both. And I'm sure you're working on something else now as we speak.
Yeah.
And, I don't know if you're going to be showing up in any location anytime soon, but where can people see you or call you for book clubs? These are definitely book worthy,
Yes,
book
I would love to. I've joined many book clubs on Zoom, and
yeah,
I'm in the Los Angeles area, Simi Valley specifically. But for Zooms, just contact me. Same thing, Deborah Thomas Author at
perfect.
gmail.com. Deborah Thomas Author at gmail.com. And that's on my website as well.
Wow, amazing. So we have come to the end of a beautiful conversation. Use your life as a part of a great love experiment. And then for you, what are you? So what is your message for today? What do you want us all to take away? Tell me.
I guess to see that you are an important part of the whole and that whatever you do, like Chief Seattle says, it does affect everyone and everything. And it can either be in a harmful way or a healing way. And of course, we all want to be the healer. So,
Yeah.
again, believe in your potential. You're an important part of the whole.
I love it. So everybody go out there and believe in your potential. My God, you matter. What a great message on this 27th day of February as we enter the last week of love in February. Not the last time we can actually show love, certainly, but juxtapose and build upon the messages that she's given us all today. And instead of cursing the darkness, be that light. Um, I am so excited to have had this opportunity to speak to you. Thank you so much. You're an absolutely beautiful person. Your energy is gentle and loving, and your books are the same. And I think that, the fact of the matter that you're an animal person probably bodes well. I could have told, dogs know, animals know, the good ones, so, but I definitely thank you very much for your time today.
Well, thank you for having me. I so admire what you're doing and the light you're putting out there and the magic and energy you're creating.
Yes, we're all doing our best, right? Yes, I want to thank you as well. And,
Thank
all of you out there, time to manifest living fully, loving intensely, and laughing more. Be gentle. I think that's the message of today as we go into whatever, we're walking through right now. Be gentle with yourself, finding more ways to play. If you've got some mustangs to hang out with, it sounds like a pretty awesome opportunity. And if you're in LA and you want to meet with Deborah, give her a shout. She gave you the contact information. As always, butterflies, I see you. I believe in you. Get ready to dazzle. It's time to shine. So go out there and do your thing. Thank you again, Deborah, and have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye, everybody.